Happy New Year! I'm Dakota from Upper Penn, and I'm going to take you through my favorite 2022 book releases. Obviously, I didn't read every book that came out in 2022, but of the ones that I did read, these are my favorites. So let me know what you read and what you loved from the 2022 book releases that you enjoyed. And then tell me what you're excited for in 2023, and maybe I'll pick it up and do a little review or try and contact the author. So here we go. So we're going to start with Cale Plamann's Tower of Somnus books. If you watch my channel, you'll see that I have interviewed him 2 or 3 times. He's pretty fun to talk to, and I'm kind of obsessed with these books. They are fun, kind of techno-noir. They're lit RPGs in the fact that the main character, Kat, gets abilities granted to her from the Tower of Somnus, which is a game that she plays when she goes to sleep every night. And there she gets to meet different alien races that are all playing the same Tower of Somnus game. And then you get to find out that she's kind of a badass bitch. She definitely starts off with a love interest and finds out he's very manipulative, which the audience can see pretty early on. He's not a nice person. And I was just so thrilled that Cale got rid of this guy immediately. Like, she finds out really quickly that he is just not a good person. And she just cuts him loose, and I appreciate that. 3 of these books came out in 2022. They are through Mountaindale Press. They are Foundations, Chiwaukee Nights, and Starfall. You can get them as ebooks or as audiobooks. I think if you're gonna read these books, listen to the audiobook narration by Andrea Parsnow, because she gives just so much life to these characters, and I love her snarkiness in how Cale writes the alien races. I think she just plays up the snark very, very well, and it's just incredibly enjoyable. So those are, I guess, books 1, 2, and 3 of my list. The first 3 books of my list, but here is book 4. And it is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. And I also talked to Rachel Gillig. She was the last author that I interviewed in 2022. And this book, oh my gosh, she is wonderful at writing mythology, and she's wonderful at world building. So I don't like fantasy books if there's not some kind of mythos that I can follow along, because I'm really, really into mythology, and I actually was getting a folklore degree, so I'm into it, and I love world building, and Rachel Gillig, she nailed it. I think she added just enough information for the reader to really become enveloped in this world, but not so much that it's like overburdening or description dumps. Like, it's not just info dumps. And all of her chapters start with this old book called, I don't remember what it's called, but it all starts with sections of the book that is like the foundation for this society. And I don't know, I loved it. I loved her character. It's very gothic-esque. There's a little bit of romance, but there's also magic. And the card system, like the magic system is cards. You tap a card and you gain the magical ability from it. And I just think it's so fascinating. I love the idea of that magic system. So One Dark Window, highly, highly recommend. It is fantastic. She is a great writer. The second one, Two Twisted Tales, I think, is coming out this year in 2023. So I cannot wait for that one. And it's just a duology, so it's just going to be these 2 books. But One Dark Window, fantastic. Now, I would be remiss if I made this list and did not talk about Travis Baldree. I was lucky enough to interview him right before his tour deal got signed for Legends and Lattes. So this is his self-published version, and I loved this book so much. I think one of my new favorite genres now, or subgenres, is cozy fantasy. I want to find a cozy sci-fi to go along with these cozy fantasies. But this one features Viv and Tandri, and it's about Viv starting a coffee shop in a fantasy world. And nobody really knows what coffee is, so it's kind of like rough going, right? I don't know why I'm explaining this. If you haven't heard of it yet, I'm very surprised because it has been hella advertised, and it's so good. And Travis Baldree is so phenomenal. He is one of my favorite narrators, and that's actually why I bought the book originally. I bought an e-copy and the audiobook narration, and I just love it. And it's kind of a short listen. I think it was like 5 or 6 hours. No, it has to be more than that. I don't know. It was pretty short though. And I just love it. So if you want to hop on the cozy fantasy train, Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldree. The tour copy is now out. I think it has a minimalist cover, but I think you can still buy these ones, like the one with this cover, because Travis really loved the art on this. And who can blame him, because it's pretty fantastic. The person who created the art, Carson Lowmiller, actually did a bunch of other art. And I even bought a t-shirt with one of the characters on it because, like, yeah, I think I've worn it on here before, but you might not have been able to see it because I kind of sit with my shirt cropped out. But Legends and Lattes, definitely look into it. So the next two in this series are part of a series, shockingly. And it is Jessie Mihalik's Hunt the Stars and Eclipse the Moon. And I got to talk to Jessie Mihalik about, I think it was Hunt the Stars. And I love these books because they're fun sci-fi that has like military sci-fi aspects. Sci-fi military? Military sci-fi. I think it's military sci-fi. The main characters were soldiers in a war. And there are some supernatural abilities that some of the one of the alien races has. And I just find it really fantastic how Jessie Mihalik mixes this kind of very action-y idea with like military sci-fi with a little bit of romance and a lot of like caring about people. The main character of Hunt the Stars is Tavi, and she's just a care bear. She loves to take care of her crew, and honestly, I love that. I wish that there were more like cuddly captains in sci-fi. I know it sounds weird, but like I like it when the crew feels like a family. And that's what these books do. The first one follows Tavi, the second one follows Key, and then the third one is supposed to come out this year. I think it's in June or July, and that one will be called Capture the Sun. So look out for that this summer. It is pretty fantastic. Following right along with the sci-fi elements, I loved this book so much. It is Dead Silence by S.A. Barnes, and I did interview her. Her name is Stacy, and I liken this book to Aliens meets Ghost Ship. The main character starts off in essentially a psych ward and is being interviewed by members of the government because they don't believe her accounting of what happened to her crew, because it's kind of odd, you know? So that's where the alien vibe comes from. It's very much like, I don't believe you. What are you doing? What really happened? You must have killed your crew. And she's like, nah, man. Like, I keep seeing their deaths over and over and over. And you get to see those deaths play, like, in her mind. Like, they're standing there right in front of them. And it's eerie. I love it. But then, halfway through the book, so the first half is her in this psych ward, telling these guys about what happened. So it's switching back and forth in time. And I wasn't sure I was going to like it because of that. Sometimes authors do that, and it just kind of loses focus for me. But I think it worked so well because the second half of this book, the timeline just, it's all straightforward chronology. And it's got some fun spooks, a lot of, like, if this was a movie, there would be jump scares for sure. So I loved it. It's got some gore, not very much, but I highly recommend it. I got it as an advanced review copy, and I cannot wait to see what else Stacy comes out with. I want to read everything she writes, so I even bought the stuff that's under her real name, Stacy Kincaid, and I love this. This is the best one. So if you haven't read it, Dead Silence, fantastic. Go out, pick up a copy, read it. If you love aliens, you will love this. If you love Ghost Ship, you will love that. I promise. And another one in the sci-fi vein, because I love me some sci-fi, is Fault Tolerance by Valerie Valdes. You can see this is an advanced reading copy. I was offered this book by Valerie's publicist, and I had not heard of her before, of Valdes. And I was like, you know, I want that book because of the cover. How could a cover be on a cover like this be on a book that's not great? And honestly, this book is fantastic. I think Valerie Valdes is so good at adding extra. It's not even extra. She's just good at populating her universe. So this is the book that is, it's the third one in a series, the final one for now. And the main character, Eva, is fighting, I don't want to spoil anything. There's a lot of adventuring, and she's got her crew. This is another one where she takes care of her crew and her crew takes care of her, and I love it. I love these types of stories where they're just like a big family. And they have mind-reading cats. That's why there's so many cats on the cover. These cats live on the ship. And it's just magical. So pick up Fault Tolerance. The first one was Chilling Effect, and then Prime Deceptions, and then Fault Tolerance. If you are a fan of Mass Effect, she heavily was influenced by Mass Effect. One of the main characters is this guy who has like pincers on his mouth, and I just think it's hilarious because he and the captain Eva have like a little romance. It's not very obtrusive in the story, it's very minimal, but it's hilarious. And I find the pincers very strange to think of when they are making out. So tell me what you think about Fault Tolerance. I also talked to Valerie Valdes. She was incredibly kind and funny, and she has a new book in a new series coming out in 2023. So look forward to that. I am super excited. I have it on my wish list already, so get it. Make sure you check out Prime Deceptions, Chilling Effect, Fault Tolerance. They're great. And then I have a book that is from my 13 days of book reviews in October, which I didn't do 13 books because I petered out there at the end of the year. But it's Hide by Kristen White. And I loved this book because I love scary movies. I love scary movies. I love scary stories. And this and like Dead Silence, these are the types of things that I look for. So the main character goes to a theme park. She's invited to like this game show. And it's playing hide and seek in a theme park. And if you don't get found by the end of, I think it's 5 days, 7 days maybe, you get to win X amount of money. But of course, nothing is ever as it seems, and this is very Cabin in the Woodsy, like the movie Cabin in the Woods. I loved it. I love the spooks. I love like the myriad of cast members that are all kind of awful, and you're just like, oh, please just stop talking to me, guy. I don't want to hear you speak to me anymore. And I don't know, I just love it. I love it, love it, love it. So check out Hide by Kristen White. Lots of fun, spooky things. And my last book, my last favorite 2022 release was The Cartographers by Peng Shepherd. So this is very, I would consider this pretty literary. Peng Shepherd is, she's kind of heavy, man. Like, she writes dense. And she also writes about mixed race people in the U.S. This one doesn't really feature a lot of aspects of that. I mean, the characters are all pretty much, I don't know, they're unique. And I love them so much. But this, I don't know how to describe it because it's not magical realism. Because magical realism would be something like, I don't know, like something magical that happens in the world that everybody knows about and just accepts. Like, they don't question it. It's just part of the world. The Cartographers has a magical element to it that a group of people stumble upon, and it's just interesting because they use it. And it's just weird. I love it. I highly suggest it. It's very much like a little bit of a mystery, a little bit of a lost romance, a little bit techie, a little bit, there's a little bit of like Indiana Jones feel to it because she used to work at a museum in the maps department. And honestly, I just love it. I think that you would be thrilled to read it. Yeah, I don't know. I love it. I cried. One of the characters, Bear, they call him in the book, just, he made me cry. So I love Peng Shepherd. She also has the Book of M out already, and I think she has another book, but I can't remember what it is, or it's coming out in 2023. I should have looked before I did this video, but I forgot. But The Cartographers, just read it, it's so good. So those are my book recommendations for 2022 book releases. A lot of them I got to talk to authors for. Some of them I didn't. Only one of them I guess I didn't. But yeah. So tell me what you read. What did you read? What did you love? Did you read any of the books that I read on this list? Don't forget Cale Plamann's are up here. They're just my non-visual copies. Well, that's all I have. Anyway, I loved my 2022 new releases. They were so spot on this year. Well, last year now. So, yeah, fantastic. Bye.